Hello, guys. Welcome to the RSA NFL show. We're back after a long time off, nearly a year, I think it is, back to talk about some playoff football. So, first of all, Simon, Ashlea, how are you? How have you been?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
All good, thanks, Rick. It's been a while, but glad to be back.
It is indeed. It feels like I've done this before. So, let's get into it then. There's been some move and shakes since the playoff games on the weekend, and obviously since the regular season has ended. So, Ash, we'll come to you first, obviously.
Yeah.
Big news coming out of the Patriots, your neck of the woods. Bill Belichick gone after 20 plus years.
Yeah. It's a big change for the Patriots now. It's gonna be weird not having Belichick there at the helm and running things, but what a journey it's been. What he's achieved at this organisation, it's going to be hard, I think, for any coach to replicate that. But it was the right call. It was time for a change. We haven't been playing well the last few years. Like I said, even with Tom Brady's last season, we weren't that great either. Just seem to have run out of ideas. We're not getting our offense going. Draft picks haven't been great. They haven't quite worked out. I just think it's time for a change. And we've got Mayo coming in now, Jared Mayo coming in. He's done some great work with that defense. It's a defense that's really kept us. Well, I think it's a defense that's got us some wins this season, that's for sure. So we've got a lot to build on there. But no, I'm excited for a change. I'm excited to see who they're going to bring in as offensive coordinator now to work alongside him. And yeah, hopefully, we have better seasons going forward. But yeah, Bill Belichick is a legend, and he's going to be missed. The Patriot way is the way it is because of him. So yeah, it's a big change.
Yeah, they're as annoying as they are, Simon, because of how Bill Belichick set them up. That's what she's saying there. But yeah, he's gone. Let's talk about Mac Jones. What does this mean for him? We know that the Patriots have got a big draft pick in number 3, I think Ashley said. So what's going to happen? Do they trade up for a quarterback now? And what's Mayo going to be thinking? Because will he be loyal to some of them players who are already there?
I don't think so, because to be honest, I think now you've got to look over the last couple of seasons where really probably by the Patriots standards, it's probably they haven't hit the mark where they wanted to be. And really in the last, couple of years, they've seemed to have gone backwards a little bit. And you've got to look at what Mac Jones has done in the body of work since he's been in the league. And okay, you could argue that he can have a year or two of rust, but we're a couple of seasons on now, and really you've got to think, has he developed as he liked, or as the Patriots would have hoped for? I don't think so, and I'm not sure if he's the answer either, and I don't think Bailey Zappi is either. So I think really a new coach is going to want a young guy to come in and mould into the player he wants. And I just don't think Mac is that type of person. He could be a very good backup. He could do like maybe like what Baker Mayfield's done maybe later on in his career, but I just don't think he's the man to lead such a story franchise like the Patriots.
Yes, going to be interesting. Like I say, we haven't seen. Well, I certainly haven't seen the Patriots like Bill Belichick, so it's going to be interesting to see with a new guy on the line. Hasn't just been changed in the coaching world, of course. We've seen one of the legends of the game, Simon, hang up his boots. Jason Kelce, argue the best centre still in the league, but he's called it a day.
Absolutely, and he's probably walking away from the game at the top of his game as well. And I think what we're going to miss, not just his solid all-round play, and really he's probably got the most important position on the team, because so many things can go wrong in that snap, and he's been Mr. Reliable for all of these years. But I think what else we're going to miss as well is just all the off-field stuff as well, and just that personality and that character he brought to the game as well. And as we were saying the other day, what I'll miss is seeing Fat Batman, and I've absolutely loved the podcast he's had going with Travis as well. I mean, such a huge personality as well, and it's just a person. That's just a huge pair of boots to fill for anybody who comes in and takes that position. But I feel like it's just not going to be the same Eagles team without him.
Yeah, and a point to that, Ash. Obviously, what do you think Jalen Hurts is going to be thinking now? He's only known Kelsey there, and like I say, he's strong in that position. So what do you think? What do you think that means for the Eagles as a franchise?
Yeah, it's a huge loss. I think Jalen Hurts is going to probably feel it more than I think anyone. Look, he's the best centre in the game. He's going to go down as one of the best of all time as well. So it's a huge loss for that offensive line. He's really kept that in check. He's a real captain, a real leader. He rallies the troops when he needs to. He just controls it, isn't he? It's going to be a big change for that offensive line and for Jalen Hurts to get used to. It's a big loss for the Eagles, and like you say, it's his character as well. He's going to be a big loss in that locker room. Whether or not he goes to coaching, I don't know. I'll be surprised if he didn't get into coaching. But the Eagles, that's going to be a big loss for them. It's going to be something that's going to take time to adjust to. And but look, he's going at the top of his game. I don't blame him going. He's going, being voted in the Pro Bowl and having a stellar season, and he wants to go out on top. And who can blame him? And yeah, I just hope he keeps the podcast going, because it's a really good podcast, and I could just listen to him talk all day. You know, he just, I don't know, he's just so good. So yeah, huge loss for the NFL, huge loss for the Eagles, but yeah, he goes out a legend.
He does, yeah, he does indeed, and yeah, maybe he knew that the Eagles franchise were in for a few hard years, so that he thought, I'm not
going now.
yeah, possibly, but yeah, I think I echo everything you guys have said. Great player, one of the GOATs, and yeah, he will be missed. Not seeing him on the field now coming into the next season. Final bit of news then this week we had was that we all know, as Welsh people, Lewis Rees-Zammit, Ash, he's decided he wants to pursue a career at 22 in the NFL. Has he taken this lightly? Does he think it's going to be easier than it actually is to get into the NFL?
I don't know, maybe. The rumours are he got a call on Sunday and he made the decision less than 48 hours. So it must be something he might have had in the back of his mind, but it is a completely different game, isn't it? You know, rugby and NFL, people do draw comparisons, and I suppose there can be some slight comparisons, but look, it's a completely different game, isn't it? The skills he has on the rugby pitch, like we were saying, in the fact that he likes to kick the ball into space and everything like that and chase it down, because no one's catching him, but he can't do that on an NFL pitch, so he's going to have to utilise his pace in a different way. So look, it's a risk, but he's young enough. If it doesn't work out, that he can come back, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a load of teams lining up for him and his signature if he does come back to rugby. But yeah, it's one that I think we're all going to be eagerly watching what unfolds over the next few weeks, and I'm pretty sure you'll pass the combine because of his pace and his power. And then it'd be interesting to see if he does get picked up in the draft or on a free agency. But as we were discussing, I think there is already a team lined up. For him to give up what he's given up now, I wouldn't be surprised if there is already a team lined up for him. But then it's up to him whether or not he can get off that practice squad, which we know is a really tough thing to do. So yeah, it came as a surprise, and it's definitely one that I'm going to be eagerly watching this season, or this year.
Yeah, that's it. This year. Yeah, Simon, obviously, as Ash said, poster boy of Welsh rugby, poster boy, one of the boys of the English rugby Premiership as well. What did you think it says about his character, though, leaving rugby at this time to pursue it?
In some ways, it doesn't paint the right picture, if you ask me personally, because he's just someone who's got everything at his feet at the moment. You know, he's established international. You know, playing in one of the top leagues in Europe, and and it's just everything going for him at the moment. And it seems to be like a knee-jerk reaction for him to walk away at this time from the game. I understand he's got some big aspirations, really, and he wants to really sort of go abroad and experience things. I personally thought he was going to go and sign for a French team, to be honest, so this was a bit of a shocker, and I'm sure it was for a lot of people as well. But I mean, he there's no doubt to the guy is an athlete and he is a talent, but he's going to be taking this talent to a completely different game. And what's he going to be like? He's got pace, but can he do it with pads on? Can he learn a game from scratch? He's going to go into a league where everybody's quick and everybody's fast, and he's also going to have the competition of people his age have been playing it since they were kids. So he's got a huge road ahead of him. But we have examples in the league at the moment where people have come from overseas and they've been a success. And Jordan Mailata was one. Okay, he's built like a house, but he was an Aussie rules rugby player. Ife Obade, who's bumped around the league, and he's made a solid career as a defensive end for the Commanders and the Panthers. There are examples out there that people have made to the league, but if you think even just for college players that 1% make it every year, I mean, good luck to him. I hope he does make a success, but my heart would have said stay in Welsh rugby, and let you see where the red for a few more years to come. But maybe we will down the road. We'll see.
Yeah, no, strange one. Obviously, I reacted very emotionally when I first heard the news. Yeah, like I say, he needs to be explosive, like we said before. But over 40 yards, not 100 meters, and. Yeah, I just didn't like the way he did it and the timing of it, really. I think his brand obviously got him to get it out before the squad was announced so that he didn't have questions about that. And, a shame for Welsh rugby as well, because we are lacking wingers at the moment. But he's made that choice, like you say, if it works out, brilliant. But we're going to see what happens with him now, like Ash said, on his journey to the NFL. So good luck to him. Okay, let's move on to some of the games we've seen on the weekend then. So we start off, Simon. Let's start off with the game of the week, really, for me. The Lions and the Rams. I don't think many had either team really performing at this level, but they did well against a good Rams team.
They did very well against a good Rams team. And you know what? You've got to think, look how far the Lions have come over the last couple of seasons. They were knocking about. They were just to get a winning record, let alone make the playoffs. And just what a job Dan Campbell has done to this Lions team, and just he's installed a belief and a grit. It's like a style about them now, and which I really like. And the fact that this is the first playoff appearance since like 92, 95, it's amazing. And I can't be more excited for Lions fans now, because I don't feel like this is going to be the end of the road for them either. Maybe we'll see how far they can go, and you look at the weapons that they've got on this Lions team now, and it's superstars everywhere. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been rock solid. The running game has been immense. Gibbs has been a golden pick for them. Now that they've got some defence, they're starting to start, and they actually stop people on defence, which they haven't done a lot of lately. But they've really picked up, and I think the last person who I've been really impressed with, and he seems to have taken this game to a whole new level, is Goff. And there were a lot of questions about him when he got traded away from the Rams. Can he make it in this league? Is he going to be someone who's just prone to making mistakes? But he's really shown to be quite a polished player, and I think the fact that he's got such a good supporting cast around him now, he's just done remarkably well. And long may it continue for the Lions. But bad luck Rams. Bad luck Rams.
Yeah, other side of it then, Ash, obviously with the Rams, not a disappointing season, because I'm not sure many people would have had them to make it, but disappointing then when they had that opportunity against the Lions. So where does McVay and co go from here?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Because we know a few years ago they built that superstar team to get to the Super Bowl and win, which they did. Obviously, they went and got Stafford from the Lions, to do that. So I think everyone was looking at this season as kind of a rebuild. I wasn't expecting them to be in the playoffs this season, that's for sure. But even with the rebuild, they managed to draft a few good players. Obviously, Nakua has to be one of the picks of the draft last season, right? They've got some Matthew Stafford got some weapons of those on that offense. And obviously Kyron Williams, the run game, he wasn't expecting that either. So yeah, if I'm McVay now, I think you're able to have your first draft picks now back, aren't you? I think that deal and everything they gave up is done now. So if I'm a Rams fan, I'm thinking we're a season ahead already. If I'm being honest. And yes, a few players are getting older. Obviously, Aaron Donald's going to get older, but look, he's still playing some light football, isn't he? He's still had another great season, and he's got more left in him. So, yeah, McVay and the Rams, I'm not too worried. If I'm them, I'm thinking, we build on what we've done towards the second half of the season. They only lost by 1 point in that game, in a tough away game. So, yeah, they go out, get the draft picks right, and I expect them to be there again next season. I think they've got I think they've got a decent squad there to build on.
Yeah, squad's definitely there. What I didn't like was McVay's beard. I gotta be honest. I won the fact. I think even LA. What's going on?
Yeah. He's gone down. He came all fresh, baby face, and since he came in the league.
Yeah. But no, that's right, yeah. But yeah, interesting. Like I say, Taylor 2 tapes for that one, but interesting with the Lions going now. And the Rams, obviously, bigger and better things in the future. So, interesting game. It was a good game. Ash, stick with you then. What I said, my most impressive game of the week anyway, Packers doing over the Cowboys. What do you say about Green Bay and that young lineup?
Yeah, mad. Who expected that result? We were messaging each other throughout the game when we couldn't believe what we were witnessing. To go to the Cowboys, a team who don't lose at home very often. I think they've won like 2 years in a row now. They haven't dropped a home game. Number one offense, playing great football on both sides of the ball, and then in come the Packers and absolutely destroy the Cowboys at home. I mean, wow, Jordan Love. He's taken his opportunity. He's had to wait. He's had to be patient. He's definitely, I think, taken as much as he can from Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's the thing, I think, with the young offense, with the new and young offense, I think there's no fear, is there? And this is kind of Jordan Love's offense now. He's able to play it the way he wants to. They haven't got Aaron Rodgers there anymore. This is his offense. And they're playing. They're playing to what Jordan Love is saying. And it was just an unbelievable game, and even now I can't quite believe what happened in that game. But if I'm a Packers fan, again, I'm really excited about what the future's going to hold. You've got a young squad there who's only going to get better, who's only going to get more experience, and if you can keep Aaron Jones fit, the Packers are going to be a threat. They really are, and they're only going to add to that squad in the off season with the draft and with free agency. Why wouldn't you want to go to Green Bay at the moment? It's a team that everyone was panicking over Rodgers going, but they're looking like they're having more fun now. I don't know. There's something like the Packers. They've got a bit of a swagger about them, and I'm looking forward to that game on the weekend and how that goes. But the Cowboys, dreadful. Gotta say,
They were there. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, you're right with the Packers. Young team, all playing well. Just let's see how far they can go now. Unfortunately, who they've got next, but. Other side of things, obviously, we've spoken about this in the chats, but Cowboys again bottling it in a playoff game, and is it the end for Dak and McCarthy?
I think there's every chance that we're going to be looking at a very different team now. Not because they have it's a successful season, but by Jerry Jones's standards, not a good season, because he's made no bones about it in the press about he will win by any means necessary, whether it's ditch a coach, ditch a quarterback, he'll do what it takes. And I can see either or maybe even both not being in the Cowboys building next year. And it's the same with a lot of their players, and because they've got a bit of a stacked roster, which in some ways they've underachieved, can't afford to keep everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised there will be some wholesale changes. But again, it's just, at a critical point. We see it last year with Dak Prescott, where last year it was time management. This year it was just game management. And the fact he couldn't really get on the same page with his number one guy, CeeDee Lamb, for most of the game, and what all that exchange of dirty looks and mixed messages, there was certainly something wasn't right in the soup on that night, and it showed, and it really showed, and the defence was sort of left out to dry really because they couldn't move the ball on offence, and then eventually when they could get themselves together, the Packers were far out of sight. But I see this as much an underachieving loss by the Cowboys as much it is a massive triumph for the Packers.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's obviously they were down a level and the Packers obviously stepped up a level, but yeah, strange game, and like we said in the chat and Steph and Ash alluded to, likes of Parsons didn't have a great year, and in the defense, they did have a few injuries, the Cowboys, of course, but yeah, maybe a time for them to give, as I said before, Trey Lance or someone like that a chance to show what he can do, because obviously he didn't get that chance at the 49ers. So yeah, interesting, but yeah, it's got a lot of decisions to make, the Cowboys owner. So
big off season coming up. Yeah,
definitely interesting to see what happens next there. All right, then, Simon, let's click on about the Bills and Steelers then. Obviously, wasn't the greatest game to watch, and the scoreline flattered the Bills, but Bills did what they needed to do, really. And, if you go back a couple of weeks, we didn't even know if they were going to be there.
Yeah, and you can only play what's in front of you as well. And, you can argue that they were playing just not a very good Steelers team who, on offense, really, they've done very little, and it's been poor pretty much all year. Even since moving on from the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, it's not really been that much better. But they've done enough. They're not going to care now. They're in the next round. They're in. They've got a game coming up, and the Steelers get sent home packing. But yeah, you do wonder how far this Bills team can go because of the injuries. And also, you've got to think with Josh Allen as well. Okay, he's a talent. He's an athlete, but he reminds me of a Brett Favre. Really, he loves to sling it, even if it means he's throwing himself into trouble as well, and he causes a lot of turnovers really by somebody of his standards. So I've got some question marks over this team. Really, I don't know whether they've got enough in the tank really to take them all the way to the Super Bowl really. But you've got to think they've done well to get to this point, considering where they were sort of halfway through the season, where it just seemed to be like everything was falling apart in front of them and trying to find people to play. But the people who've come in, they've stepped up and they've done the job.
Yeah, no, I was enjoying them falling apart, to be honest. I loved watching them get beaten by the Jags live. It was impressive. But yeah, not that they did anything after that. But yeah, Ash, other side of the field, Steelers, a case of injuries to quarterbacks and just not having them weapons to beat, like I say, not a very Bills team really on the day.
Yeah, look, obviously TJ Watt's a massive loss, wasn't it? They've relied on Watt and that defense, I think, to get them where they have been this season. I was surprised to make the postseason, if I'm honest. I think the quarterback situation is a mess. I don't think Kenny Pickett is the right guy, and obviously Mason Rudolph is certainly not the right guy. He's a backup for a reason, and he showed that in that game. The turnovers were key in that game. I thought everyone just had an off game on offense. I think it was only Warren who really turned up in that game on Monday night. I think everyone else was quite poor. Some obviously Pickens dropped a few things. Harris didn't get the run game going as he has been. And yeah, it just wasn't good. And I think the Bills, obviously, like Simon said, you can only beat what's in front of you, but it was definitely an easier start for them. But the Steelers, yeah, if they can go out and get a quarterback and they can get that offense moving, they got weapons there, right? They just need somebody there who's gonna click those pieces together. And it's going to be interesting what the Steelers do in the off season in terms of that. But they're a team that got a lot to build on. They've got a great head coach in Mike Tomlin. And if they get that quarterback position right, then I expect them to be in the playoffs again next season. If they can do it this season, and I'm pretty sure they can do it next season with a better quarterback. But yeah, Bills. Big injuries happened in that game. It's going to be a loss coming into the game against the Chiefs on the weekend. it's a game that's going to be tough to call because the Bills are at home. But it's a game that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, interesting. Like you say, yeah, Steelers not got the players at the moment. I like Tomlin. You like Tomlin, but he's been there a long time now, and it's whether or not he wants to carry on trying to
he's
rebuild.
staying. I think he said yesterday that he's staying. He's got one more year, and he's gonna see that out. But he's a top coach. Anyone will go for him, right? If he becomes available. So
he's never had a win. He's never not had a winning record.
Which is exactly
really,
which is unreal. So yeah,
which I'm sure you've loved in your conference, sir. But yeah,
along with the Patriots, they've caused some headaches over the years. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Like say, more interested for you guys, the game coming up for the Bills rather than me, which I'll probably like to say behind it. But yeah, moving on then, Ash, what about another quarterback who thrust himself into the limelight in CJ Stroud and then Houston Texans?
Yeah, what a story. The Texans, who would have had them to be in the playoffs after the last couple of seasons where they just haven't been good, have they? They've been pretty poor, but I think you look at that Texans team and the rebuild, and it kind of started when they got rid of Deshaun Watson, and they've rebuilt, and I think you've seen some steps last season in terms of their defense was stepping up now and then, but it still wasn't a great season. But they went and they drafted well. They went and got their quarterback, and look, I didn't think CJ Stroud would have the season that he's had. This kid's come into the league and he's just taken it by storm. There's absolutely no fear. He's having fun. The pressure's not getting to him, and he's just out there, like I say, like he's in the back garden throwing the ball to his mates, you know. So the Texans are fun to watch. It's going to be a good matchup against the Ravens on the weekend. But for me, CJ Stroud definitely rookie of the year, potentially. You know, could be looking at player of the year. If I'm being honest, he's had such an impact on that team, and the Texans, who couldn't move the ball the last couple of years, are moving the ball, and they're moving the ball well, and that's down to Stroud. So yeah, he's fun to watch. The Texans have become fun to watch. I never thought I'd be saying that. So yeah, looking forward to that game on the weekend.
Yeah, he is. He's a gunslinger. He's certainly got an arm on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, surprise package of the year, really, the Texans coming from last year. I think we'd all agree on that. But other side of things, Cleveland Browns, you know, their record really didn't show it in that game with Homeless Joe throwing for them.
Homeless Joe, or probably out of a job Joe now, and
Retired Joe.
Because the thing is, it's just, you know, it's again, this is they would have come in probably expecting to win this game, maybe a little bit overconfident, and you know, as we spoke about the other day, they had a number one defense coming into this game, and I thought they were going to cause CJ Stroud havoc, mainly because that, you know, that offensive line has been a little bit shaky at times, and they've relied heavily on Tunsil, and I thought they could really cause some damage, but couldn't have been more further from the truth, really, because it seemed to be like out sorts right from the beginning, and even in the second half, to me it looked like they just seemed to have capitulated, and they seemed to lose their heads altogether, and as we've quite rightly pointed out, okay, you know, Joe Flacco has come in and he's done a job, but look at all the turnovers he's thrown lately. You know, he's thrown 8 turnovers or something like that.
5 games,
yeah, 5 games.
Big
yeah,
concern. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is, you know, it is a worry, really, and you know, the running game really wasn't there, and you know, look what they did to the Browns, you know, only a few weeks ago. But it's a shock, really, to see if those two teams were, you know, that was the same team, you know, two completely different performances, really, and you know, and the fun fact I saw the other day, you know, Baker Mayfield has got more playoff wins than the Browns have since 1995. So I'm sure they're gonna sit on simmer on that one. But you know, hats off to the Texans, really, because I think I like the way they came in, because they showed absolutely no fear and they just went for it. They just went for it, and I think the Browns, again, that defense, there have been times where, even though it's number one, but they have slipped at times, and really they've at probably the most crucial point, they've let themselves down.
Yeah, no, you're right, and they have lost a lot of pieces, obviously, over the years. The Browns, like I said, we talked a bit the other day about that game when they destroyed the Steelers in the playoffs, and if you look at all the players that aren't there now who were there then, apart from maybe Garrett, it's a different team. But yeah, no, nothing but respect for the way the Texans demolished them, really, and made them make mistakes to lose that game. So yeah, well done, Houston. Moving on. You've said his name, Simon, so we'll talk about him. Baker Mayfield. I think we talked about this. One of the most of the improved game from him coming into that team. I don't think anyone thought he could take that Buccaneers team how he has.
Absolutely not. No, and when you think where he started and when he came in from the Browns, probably maybe an immature lad, where the game probably came to him a bit too soon when he got drafted by the Browns. A lot was expected from him, and it didn't quite work out. And I don't think all of it was his fault. But when you get a number one pick, there's a lot of is expected. You almost, in some ways, you have to be like a day one contributor, and maybe some off-field stuff which didn't quite, it wasn't quite working for him. But since he's come, since he's been in the league a couple of years, and he was solid for the Rams a season or two ago, and you know what, that performance the other day was probably one of the best games I've seen from Baker Mayfield by a long margin, because he looked polished, he looked comfortable. He's got a great supporting cast around him, but as Dak has proven, that you can have all the pieces, but it's still the quarterback who has to put it all together. And it's just superb, and I think maybe they found their answer at quarterback for the foreseeable future, because he's still a relatively young guy, still got a good defense, which is is relatively stacked. You've got a great number one and number two options, Godwin and Mike Evans. So let's see what the Buccaneers can do. Maybe they can go deep into the playoffs, and if he turns up like that, then why not? Why not? Yeah,
no, it's true, and like I say, he's gone playing well, and it's opened up nicely that side for them now. Ash, other side of it, we spoke a bit about them when we were talking about Kelsey, but Eagles, probably would have been up there as a favourite to go back to the Super Bowl. Hasn't happened, and they looked a terrible team last.
Yeah. What's happened to the Eagles? Who would have thought they'd ended the season after the way they started it? I think they were 11-1 or something. They ended up being 11-6, and obviously got absolutely destroyed on the weekend against the Buccaneers. I don't know what's happened to the Eagles. Something's happened. Something's not quite right. Their body language is off. I mean, I've always had questions over Jalen Hurts' body language anyway. I don't think he's the most engaging of guys, and as a quarterback and the leader of the offense, he doesn't seem to engage as other quarterbacks do with their teams. But yeah, something's not quite right. There's been rumours that AJ Brown has been causing some issues. There's some upset with him. Obviously, he didn't play in the week, but yeah, for them to nosedive the way that they have, and just to fall, a bit of a fall upon grace, really, considering where they've been the last couple of years and what they built up, to completely tank the way they have, it's weird, it's odd. Obviously, defense, there's been some upset. They obviously brought Matt Patricia in, who isn't that great, let's be honest. Bit of a questionable call. There's a reason why the Patriots got rid of him. There's a reason why the Lions got rid of him. He's not a good coach. So yeah, he came in on defense, hasn't made them any better, probably made them worse. And yeah, the Eagles got a lot of soul searching to do this offseason, I think. Obviously, they're going to lose Jason Kelsey. So that's a big issue in itself. There's questions over, Nick Sirianni, whether he's going to keep his job. I don't know. But yeah, there's a bit of soul searching to do for this Eagles team, and figure out why they ended up falling the way they did this season, because I had them to go back to the Super Bowl this year, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, like you say, a lot of changes that happened in the off season, obviously, with their coaches going to head coaches. Like you say, they lost some players because of cap issues, but still they had a very strong team. So yeah,
they started off well.
Well, yeah, like you said, 10-1, they were flying. So yeah, no pun intended, they were flying. But yeah,
nice.
We'll see what happens with them. Finally, then the last game that we've seen on the weekend was my boys then, Ash, the Chiefs. Probably the most dominant they've been all season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably the best game. One of the best games I've seen them play this season. They've been very un-Chiefs-like this season. A lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes on offense, which you don't know when you see with Patrick Mahomes' offense. But yeah, they played really well against a Miami team. I think we have to say are depleted a bit on injuries. They've lost some key players, especially on defense. And when you're playing a team like the Chiefs, it's going to show, isn't it? And as we know, they don't play well in the cold, the Dolphins. They just don't. They're not a team who do play well in cold weather. But in terms of the Chiefs, again, they did what they had to do. They did it convincingly. That link up between Mahomes and Kels looked quite strong again. Hasn't been quite there all season. But I think it was quite consistent in that game, and that's going to give them a lot of confidence going into a tough away game, the Bills. But yeah, if you're a Chiefs fan right now, I don't think you could have asked for a better game to set you up. I think going into that game, and Mahomes and that offense will definitely be feeling a lot better than they were a couple of weeks ago. That's for sure. And it makes for an interesting game. So yeah, I think if you're a Chiefs fan, then you're going to go into it with a bit more belief, I think.
No, yeah, definitely helped with my nerves a bit, even though I'll still be the same on the weekend. Simon, obviously, other side of things, as Ash alluded to, the Dolphins don't travel very well, and questions are going to be asked like some other places of McDaniel and Tua, even. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because I think in some ways you can argue that Miami have been a bit more style than substance really this year. If you look over the course of the year, okay, they've had their injuries where they had they were absolutely decimated really in the linebacker department really, with Phillips and Chubb that went down towards the end of the year, and Van Ginkel was hurt, and there was just a lot of a lot of issues there. But on the other side of the ball, they still had a strong team, and sometimes the best form of defense is your attack really. And when you look at they had home run hitters everywhere with Devon Achan and Waddle, even on to go with the Tyreek Hill really. I expected probably a lot more from this team, considering just when you look at the roster from top to bottom. And for sometimes I think they've almost tried you can argue they've tried to be too clever sometimes with when it's just a case of just keep the ball moving, keep getting those first downs, not trying to do all these fancy gadget plays, just literally just get the job done really. Whereas with Tua, there's a little bit of, again, you can say there's an argument for him being, there are times where there's been some bad mistakes really in some of the games, and where he's just the targets have been missed, or he's not managed the clock very well. It's all been a little bit of a mess really. So so they're gonna rule this as a bit of a and they've underachieved this year. Again, they'll probably feel a little bit like the Cowboys now. Not maybe so many potential changes. I can see McDaniel being there next year, but they've just got to be able to find a way just to close out some of these games, because the talent is there. They just need to find a way of just get themselves over the line.
Yeah, no, big season for them coming up as well, I think. And like you say, for Tua, he's been given a lot there, and he's going to have to win the big games, not just the games that come easy. So yeah, interesting. Dolphins gone as well though, so obviously I was very happy about that. Okay, let's talk about two of the teams we didn't see then. I'll start with you, Simon. It's been all rosy at Baltimore this season, and certain quarterbacks made you eat your words.
So some quarterbacks have eaten my words, and I'll be the first person to admit I was calling for Lamar Jackson to go in the off-season with all of this dispute going on about his contract, and felt like he wasn't really being a team guy. But they're athletes. They need that protection. They need some security. So I understand that. Okay, when they gave him probably the figure which I thought was probably, maybe for a lot of people as well, it was a much bigger figure than a lot of people were expecting. I personally thought, right, he's going to have to he's going to have to come up trumps this year with a contract like that. And boy, has he done that in abundance as well. And it's just been, for me, it's just been probably one of the best seasons we've had in as far as I can remember. And even the games that we've lost, we've missed. We've missed. Almost all of them have been by a touchdown or less. But he's become a lot more of a pocket presence than a runner that we've seen in the past. I think Tom Monken has been brilliant from that point of view, just to change the philosophy of things and make him sit there. Now he's got some good weapons with him so he can do that. The defense has been solid, but it seems to have gone up a gear now that some of our young boys have seemed to have really have come into their own this year. The ones that stand out to me, Madubuike has been a beast this year. Kyle Hamilton has been absolutely everywhere. But I give a lot of credit to Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy, because I think they've been really, really savvy pickups by the Ravens, and they've brought just a little bit of experience and a bit of maturity to this team. So I'm excited to see how far we can go, but I'm also really nervous about how good the Texans were. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, but maybe this is our year. Maybe this is our year, but got to get in that past next weekend first.
True, and like I say, in most years you're relying on the boot of Tucker, and you haven't had to do that this year. So
no way.
It's good. Ash, on the other side, so in the other conference then, the 49ers have pretty much been perfect, apart from obviously the Ravens doing them over recently. Again, though, can Shanahan do it this time? Can he take them all the way?
Yeah, again, that's the big question, isn't it? Is whether they can get over that line. Look, they're in a very good position to do that. You look at that 49ers team, and it's stacked on both sides. Both sides are playing really well. They've got probably arguably the best running back in the game in Christian McCaffrey, right? And not just running it, he can also slant routes, catch it, and run it in. He's been unbelievable this season. Key factor to that is that they've kept him fit. The 49ers, I know the Ravens went and beat them a few weeks ago. You didn't beat them, you hammered them. I wasn't expecting that either, but look, the 49ers would have taken a lot from that game. Brock Purdy was just way off, but at the same time, I think the Ravens defense deserve credit for that too. But I don't know, with the 49ers, you just don't know. I think with these playoffs, who would have expected last weekend to happen, some of the results that we've seen. So I don't really want to sit here and say they're going to be in the final, that they're going to get over the line, but I think this is their best time to do it. I don't think I've seen such a strong 49ers team in a long time. I think if they don't do it this year, then when are they going to do it? Because I think they're a team remind me that there was the Rams a few years ago where they stacked their team, and it's for a short-term kind of gain, really. So I think if they don't do it now or next year, then I think it's going to be a bit of a long road back to them, because there's a lot of players on there who are going to want money, who are going to be going. I'd like to see the 49ers do it. I would like to see them get over that line. They're a team growing up that, you've always heard of the 49ers, right? They've got a rich history, and I'd like to see them get to the final. Wherever they lift that trophy, who knows? But they're in a very, very strong position to do so, as are the Ravens. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Ravens 49ers final.
Yeah. No, and like you said, they probably, obviously the Ravens have been outstanding on that kind of thing, but where the last couple of years, the likes of the Chiefs and the Bills have looked very impressive. They're not in the form that they were them years. So probably is the best chance 49ers may have. And I know my mate is very excited, thinking that they might do it this year. So yes, going to be interesting to see them going forward. So let's lastly then, guys, just quickly give our answers on what we think is going to happen then this divisional round. So I'll start with you, Ash. Obviously, give Simon a bit of a break. Ravens against the Texans. Who's getting through?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Ravens. The home field advantage will come into play. I just think the Ravens, I think, just slightly stronger on both sides. I think their defense will come up with some key stops more than the Texans will. I think that's going to be key. I think, and I think Lamar Jackson is just playing, we're so stride. But I think it's the best I've seen Lamar Jackson play, and it's dangerous watching this Ravens team. So yeah, I'm going to go Ravens, but I think it'll be closer than. It'll be quite close and go down to the fourth quarter. I hope. I don't want any blowouts. I want close games.
Yes, they'll be. They are clear favourites. Let's face it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I'm on the other side of things then. First time we'll see the 49ers against a very good young Packers side. So who are you going, 49ers or Packers?
I'm going to go with I think, to be honest, the 49ers. So the Packers will be coming in with bags of confidence as well, and they've got a great young squad coming into this game. But you look at this 49ers team, and it's not just stacked, but it's stacked with people with, players with big game experience, which I think is going to be key in this match. And I think for that reason, I think the 49ers are going to be the ones who come out on top, because it's just that, they've got, players who are a bit longer than the tooth, loads of talent. And I think by the sounds fit, like McCaffrey is going to be fit as well, and he is the X factor in this team, really. If he's ready to go, then it's very hard stopping this team as well. And that's just to take into account one person. That's not who wants to say Kittle can't run right in this game.
Yeah,
Deebo Samuel, he's still aging like a fine wine. So I like the 49ers in this one, but I really hope the Packers will give them a run for their money. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and Ayuk's had a ridiculous season as well.
Not even
you mentioned him. Yeah, feel off the names. Yeah, talented squad.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a safe bet there, probably just about because of the inexperience of the Packers. But Ash, I'll ask you this game because I know you had some trouble with the other one. So the one I'm looking forward to the most probably this divisional weekend, Lions and Tampa Bay. That's the one unable to call. So who's going to do it? Is it going to be Goff or Mayfield?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions on this one. I think it'll be a close game. I think that Buccaneers defense is good, right? It's definitely a top 5 defense. It's making stops in the red zone against the opposition. But I just fancy, I think the running game of Detroit is just, I think it's one of the best in the game. I think Montgomery and Gibbs, and then obviously you've got the option of throwing it to St. Brown. And is it Laporta, the tight end? I mean, what a season he's had. I mean,
what a
rookie. Unbelievable season. So, look, I'm going to go with the Lions at home. I think the atmosphere is going to be electric as it was last week. And I'm riding the Lions wave at the minute. I'm liking the vibe. I'm liking the confidence that they're having. But look, the Buccaneers are going to give them a game, right? It's going to be a game that I think will be like the Rams last week. I think it's going to go toe to toe, and I think both defenses are going to make stops. I think Hutchinson's going to have a great game as he has all season. And yeah, I'm going to go Lions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even Josh Reynolds had a crazy game against his old club as well, didn't he, the other day? So
yeah,
they haven't got a lot against the Lions. So yeah, I think this is a good shout there. So I'm coming to you last then, mate. The game that I'm most scared of, Bills and Chiefs. It's not it's been a game we've seen a lot of, let's be fair, in the playoffs, especially the last couple of years. But who's going to edge it come Sunday night?
They seem to, they seem to like to meet.
Oh, is he froze? He's froze.
Scared and frozen on us?
Yeah, he's done a me there. You can't pick.
He's frozen when the games come up. We'll give him
Nobody can call this game. That's why, Rick.
And all the Chiefs have hacked into this and made it red. So, if he doesn't, then I'll let you answer, Ash. I'll let you to come off the fence.
All right, okay. I don't know if I can. It's a tough one to call. The Bills, I think Chiefs at home, I would have gone for Chiefs. But because they're away, it's a tough place to go, Orchard Park. And look, the Bills, I think if you look at the Bills' form lately, they didn't start off well, but since the bye week, they've been on fire. And the teams they've beaten, they've been top teams, right? They've gone to the Chiefs and beat you at home. So they're a team probably full of confidence right now. I do think the injuries might go again. The more I thought about it lately, I was thinking about it last night and then this morning, I think those injuries in the secondary are going to cost the Bills. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one. I think Mahomes and Kelsey are going to exploit that middle part, that secondary, because they are depleted there, and no one does it better, I think, than Kelsey and Mahomes. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelsey comes out and has like a 100-yard game in this game. I really wouldn't be. He hasn't had the greatest of seasons in terms of his standards, but look, it's the playoffs. Mahomes and Kelsey turn up, right? I mean, when they're on form, you're not stopping them. So I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Brilliant. Simon, I'm disappointed, mate. Your face was in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apologies for that. A little bit of technical difficulty there. So as I was saying, so I to be honest, I think I think the Chiefs will edge this one. To be honest, I just like that. Okay, they've had their issues this year, but I feel like it for me it comes on the consistency of the play of the quarterbacks really, and I feel like Mahomes has been far more consistent. And for me, he's the type of person who can sort of pull themselves together in this game. And also I feel like we got to start giving some love to this the Chiefs defense as well, because I really have turned themselves around in such a big fashion. And look at McDuffie; he's been outstanding this year, outstanding. And Bolton has just been everywhere, and Chris Jones has been as solid as ever. So I just feel like the Chiefs will do this, and they'll pull themselves together, because you know what, I feel like the Bills had an easy ride into the playoffs so far, and I feel like they're going to have a big shock when they come now into the next round. So, okay, it's okay. The Bills are going to be at home, but I feel like the Chiefs have got the weapons and to put this team away.
I hope you're both right. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not gonna be as confident until I see how they turn up. But yeah, definitely it's going to be a cracking game for the neutral, not so much for the ones that are involved. But yes, there we go, there, guys. We've discussed in depth and a lot on this podcast. So thank you both as usual for being part of it. To our listeners, obviously, we are on YouTube. The link will be on our social media accounts as well, on Twitter, on Instagram. Also, we're on TikTok now, so have a look at that. So, and all three of us will be putting content up when we see it. So thank you, as always, for listening. Thank you for following us. And Ash, Simon, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules to be part of the podcast.
Thanks very much.
Good to be back.
Been a pleasure.
Right. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.